And so Snape says, hide them all. And then Dumbledore was like, what will you do for me? What will you do for me? I feel like the old Dumbledore, not the old Dumbledore, Dumbledore we know would just be like, okay. But he said, what will you do for me? And Snape says, I will do anything. And then the scene changed back to Dumbledore's office, and Snape is just not bent over, like slumped over on Dumbledore's office, and he's like, I thought you could protect them. So this will be the scene right after Voldemort killed Harry's parents, and then he says, Dumbledore says, the boy lives, and he's like, the boy lives, and he tells him he has the same green eyes as Lily, and Snape is like, don't bring this up, and he says, I need you to do something for me, Snape. I need you to protect this boy, and he's like, why do I need to protect him if Voldemort is dead? And Dumbledore was like, Voldemort's gonna come back. He's gonna come back, and he's gonna try to kill Harry, and I need you to protect Harry and make sure he lives. And at this point, obviously Snape didn't want to, but Snape remembered his promise to Dumbledore, and he had to, obviously. And Snape says, this has to stay between us. This between us, no one else can know, not even Harry can know that I am charged to protect him. And this scene, obviously, you can think back to a lot of moments in this story of Harry and how Snape has really been the one to help him out and always been the one in the background. Even though Harry hasn't really liked him, Snape's always been there for him. And it's because of his servitude to Dumbledore. And then Dumbledore also adds to watch Professor Quirrell. So this is the moment before Harry becomes, a student at Hogwarts. And then the scene changes again, and it's the aftermath of the Yule Ball. So this is Harry's fourth year, and Dumbledore and Snape are talking to each other about Karkaroff, his dark mark, and basically saying it has appeared, and he's confirming yes, it has appeared, and it has not started burning yet. So they know that Voldemort's not officially back yet, but he's on the rise, and then he's asked Snape, "Do you feel like go back to him?" And he's like, Snape's like, no, I can't go back, but I have to be, on the ready in case. And he's like, Karkaroff was a good man. I'm hoping you can be like, not a good man, but Karkaroff is willing to help the Ministry and finding the other Death Eaters. So I'm hoping you can be of service to us as well. And then the scene changes yet again, and in this scene, and it changes again, and they're back in Dumbledore's office, and it looks like the aftermath of Dumbledore destroying the first Horcrux. Not the first one, but the first one he found, the ring. And his hand is all black, and Snape is trying to mend it, and he's asking Dumbledore, why did you destroy it? Why did you try to destroy it on your own? You should have had some help, And Dumbledore's like, I knew it would be dangerous, but I didn't know it would be like this. And so Snape is like, I've given you some time, but you're still probably going to die from this. And I'm just able to contain the spell or the curse in your hand. And it's still going to grow and take over as time goes on. So he said, basically, Dumbledore asked him, how much time do I have left? And Snape is like, you got about a year. And Dumbledore smiled at this, and it's like, okay, I have time. So he's trying to get things in order, and then he mentions Voldemort's plan for Malfoy to kill him. So Dumbledore knew this whole time, obviously. I think that was already foretold in the previous book. Dumbledore knew the whole time Malfoy was going to be the one to kill him, or the one that Voldemort wanted to kill him because of his punishing Lucius and for his misgivings. And he knew that Voldemort knew that Draco would not be able to kill Dumbledore and that he probably would die. So he was basically sending Draco to his death, or in the off chance that he does kill Dumbledore, then two birds, one stone. And Dumbledore's like, no, Draco cannot be the one to take me out. because that's going to destroy him. That's going to shatter his soul, and we can't let that happen. So he asked Snape, will you be the one to do it for me, or for him? And he's like, you're going to find out exactly what Draco needs to do, and you're going to help him and make it look like, you know, you're on his side. And at first Snape is like, huh? You want me to kill you? And Dumbledore's like, yes, you have to be the one to do it. I don't have much time left anyways, so you should be the one to do it. And you cannot tell Harry or give any indication that you're going to be the one to do this. And yeah, this chapter is crazy. And they're outside, and Snape asks Dumbledore, you know, what have you been doing with Harry all these nights that you've been going out? And Dumbledore does not really reveal what they've been doing, but he talks about, like, he trusts Harry with this task, and Snape asks, why don't you trust me with this? And he's like, Harry and I, this is between Harry and I, and you have another task that you need to do. And he mentions that Harry and Voldemort's souls, like Harry's soul cannot be intertwined with Voldemort's soul. And basically he says Voldemort has realized this, and he's not going to try and enter Harry's body again like he did at the end of the fifth book. And he says, obviously, he's like, once you kill me, and Snape was like, I haven't even, basically, Snape hasn't really fully considered that he's going to have to kill Dumbledore, and he hasn't really fully, like, given into that plan that he's going to have to kill Dumbledore. And Dumbledore tried to remind him, is like, you gave your word that you were going to kill me. And then he says, meet me in my office later tonight, and we'll discuss it even further, what the plan is. And in the room, Dumbledore is like, Harry must not know what he needs to do until the last moment before he needs to do it. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But he reveals that there will be a moment where Voldemort is going to be more heavily guarded with his snake. And Snape is like, Nagini? He's like, yes, the snake. He's going to recall the snake to him and not, like, use it to do other tasks. And at that moment is where you should tell Harry what he needs to do. And in this moment, he reveals that Harry, when his mother put herself in front of Voldemort, she, like, cast a spell, obviously, and Voldemort, when he launched the spell at Harry, the shield charm bounced back, obviously, and went back to Voldemort, and a piece of his soul went into Harry when he cast that spell. And that piece of the soul is the reason that Voldemort is still alive. He says as long as Harry is alive, Voldemort will stay alive, even if, you know, the snake is killed and all that stuff. And then Snape is like, so Harry's got to die for this to all end. And then Dumbledore is like, yes, he has to die in battle with Voldemort. Basically saying they have to take each other out. And at this point, Snape is like, so you've had me do all this stuff, and in the end, Harry is still going to die. You have me try to protect him all these years. And then Dumbledore's like, oh, that's cute. Do you have feelings for the boy? And obviously Snape doesn't answer that directly. He answers it indirectly by showing his Patronus, and his Patronus is a doe. It's a doe. It is a doe. He shows his Patronus, and basically Snape is showing here that he has loved Lily as long as he can remember, and he's willing to do anything for her in death, even if it means to protect her child, even though he hates the father. Even if it means to protect the child, then he is willing to do that. And then it cuts to scenes of him protecting Harry, like, after this point, like, and